What's up, guys? Holding Alice with you here, bringing you Goblin Slayer episode 2 review. This episode starts off with this pink-haired busty girl waking up, and she's stretching, she's getting ready and stuff like that. And we see that she's a close friend of Goblin Slayer. They were childhood friends, and we basically get a backflash of her and him fighting as kids because she's going to the city and she's bragging about it, but he can't go, so he's kind of upset. He's being bratty about it, and she's putting him on blast about it, and they get into an argument. But then Goblin Slayer's sister, she walks in and she breaks up the fight between them, and then we fast forward a little bit to the future, and we see when she's looking out her window, we see Goblin Slayer checking like the posters of the farmland and checking the ground. The way he does every morning. This is his routine. This is how he see if any goblin has come to scout, because the goblins usually scout late at night, and then they return back to their nest. They tell the leaders, and the next night then they come and attack. So we know goblins have some form of intelligence, besides the fact that they not just smart, like, you know, not smart, but they have basically good intelligence gathering skills, and we know they're pretty strong. They have, I guess you could say, basic human strength, but it's because they're so small, they're fast and agile. So, but yeah, the Goblin says this is every morning. He checked all the land posters, he checked all the rocks, he checked the grass area of the field. He looked for footprints and bloodstains, anything goblin related, so he could know if any goblins had been nearby or whatever. He even had traps just in case to catch some. They do try to like come by and sneak in, which there's a reason why he does this, and also a reason why he hates the goblins so much, why he does this, but we find out later on. But later on in the episode, the girl with the pink hair, which we that's one thing about Goblin Slayer I don't like. We don't get to know nobody's names. All we know is Goblin Slayer, and that's not even his name, that's just a nickname they gave him, so we don't even know his real name. So that's one thing I don't really like about the anime so far, is like no names of these characters are being dropped. We don't know the blonde-haired chick from last episode, who we see again in this episode. We don't know the pink-haired chick who we got introduced to. We don't know her uncle's name who we got introduced to. We don't even know Goblin Slayer's name, because Goblin Slayer, that's his nickname. That's not his real name, so it's like... And we don't even get his sister's name in the flashback, so it's like, what's going on? But... just wanted to get that little run out the way, but again, the pink-haired girl in Goblin Slayer, they go to market and stuff, and he accompanied her, and then she has to go to the guild hall for some reason. I forgot what it was, but when they go there, everybody's like taking shots at Goblin Slayer, saying all he's done is hunt goblins, which are low-level pathetic creatures. His armor and weapons are all beat up looking and scruffy. How did he become a silver plate just by doing that? Blah blah blah. And I feel bad for him because like, a lot of people, thanks to episode 1 last week, was taking shots at Goblin Slayer and said it was dirty, it wasn't that great, it was corny, it was too sketchy, blah blah blah. They were completely down, like knocking down the episode, and it was just episode 1. I mean, you just can't like praise something or say something's gonna be good or bad just because of episode 1. There's a lot of animes that this episode 1 starts off slow. I mean, I give you the perfect example: One Piece, like, it took like the first 30 episodes for you to get like down to the nitty-gritty stuff, when Luffy finally got his crew and they actually get to like sit on their adventure and the real stuff starts to happen. So, but it was real slow and cheesy in the beginning. So, you know, it happens with a lot of anime. Sometimes it might be slow, and sometimes it picks up, and sometimes they don't. Look at Black Clover. It took them 14 or 15 episodes to catch up. One Piece, like I said, 30 episodes to actually build up. So, you know, not all animes are just gonna right off the bat hit you in the feels and make you get like caught into it. You gotta give, you know, anime a chance. You know, at least give it 3-4 episodes before you decide to drop it. You know what I'm saying? But people are people. They're gonna complain and nag and tolerate and complain about it. Even though same thing we've seen in Goblin Slayer, we've seen in other animes that get praised for it. Berserk, Corpse Bride, Elfen Lied, Van Helsing, Ultimate, non-Ultimate. I mean, even Fullmetal Alchemist, brotherhood and non-brotherhood to an extent, has some of these dark type, like, essence to it. And we praise and happy we have all these series, yet everyone is knocking down goblins there for a rape scene that we didn't get to really see the rape scene. All we saw in that scene was the goblin grab her butt cheeks and her face like mugged into the ground, and the goblin's holding her. And her body, we knew her body was like going up and down, like somebody was jerking her, and her eyes crying, but that's all we really saw. We didn't really get to see any like, anything like really go down. I mean, it was implied, of course, but it's not like they should show the whole thing. So I don't know why people are complaining. Like, for real, like when y'all read anything or watch any TV show, read the disclaimer and the description before you get into it. Don't like just hop into it and then finding out you're listening and then you don't like it, and then you're gonna complain and nag it about it and like run about it and try to knock it down, because that's uncool. Like, everyone should know that this was gonna be a fantasy series that is more darker than others. You know what I'm saying? So, not as dark as Berserk or Elf and Leo, Corpse Bride, but it's up there, But yeah. After everyone starts picking on him, literally everyone, those who bust on the first episode and those even in the episode in this episode who busting on him, we find out that there's other silver necklaces, people there with dog tags that are silver like him, and they just looking down on him, saying he's not no threat because all he does is hunt goblins. So they're even there looking down on him. But there's one thing that I like about the episode the most, and I hope we get to see more of this character. I like her, but we don't get her name either. The blonde-haired chick from the guild hall, the one who gives up the missions. We find out that in a backflash, she told the Goblin Slayer, even though you're hunting down only goblins and they consider low-level creatures, what you're doing is a very great deed, because if there's too many goblins, they can overthrow a city very quickly, because goblins have to, like, since they're only male, they have to rape and take females from other races to create more goblins, and that's how other goblins are created, and that's how they evolve off of that. So, and goblins can like reproduce very quickly. Once they get a girl pregnant, I believe after like a couple of hours, maybe would develop that her wound and pop out. So, think about it. If this happens only in a couple of hours, imagine if they had a whole bunch of females locked up forever, for years at least. That's some crazy stuff. The amount of goblins that's gonna go wild is like, and goblins don't take long to grow up either. If you know anything about goblin folklore, they do not take long to grow and learn. But even Goblin Slayer himself said they will learn from their parents' mistakes and adapt and get stronger and smarter. So they're not as pathetic as low level as people think they are. And just because their money for the missions are so cheap, a lot of people don't decide to do it. So, even though it is important for it to be done and taken care of. But luckily we have Goblin Slayer, who he's the main one who does it. Only one technically that does it. But yeah, he gets a mission to go on a Goblin Slayer quest, and he does it. And the chick with the blonde hair, she comes in and she joins him. And she complains about Tam, about the way he kills goblins, that he needs to find another way to do it. Because the way he did it last time, he could have caused an avalanche or earthquake or burn down a natural forest or whatever. But he tells her as long as they get the job done, nothing else matters, and no one got hurt anyway. They had their back and forth bickering, and he tells her straight up, "Are you coming or not?" Because she found out that there's another group of 3 that went to go on a Goblin Slayer mission, and she got worried because she seen what happened to her group, and there were 4. And they were all newbies, and this is a group of 3 newbies, so we all expected them to die, but luckily in the ending credits, we find out they're not dead. They come back, survive, and live, and they're good. But, I guess it wasn't as stupid as the first ones. But, yeah, we see Goblin Slayer and this chick with the blonde hair. We see them, and they trapped the goblins in their hideout, and they set it on fire. And anyone that took an extra route to escape, Goblin Slayer and her found them and hunted them down and was killing them. And when doing this was happening, we get 2 flashbacks. One flashback, and we get one information shot of the pink girl with the pink hair and her grand uncle. Her uncle tells her, since what happened to his sister, he lost it. He's not the same person he was in the past. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I'm going to still give him a couple of days and try and see what happens. And then that's when we get the flashback of what happened to his sister. Now in the anime, they say that she was just beaten to death in front of his eyes for protecting him. But from what I looked up in the light novel and the manga, it actually was a lot worse and gruesome. They beat her, then they raped her, then they beat her again, then they raped her, and they just continuously did this to her. This whole army of goblins, which destroyed his village, did this to her, and that's how she died. But because he needed to keep his mouth shut and not breathe, and he was concealed, he was actually forced to watch all this, and that's what made him go cuckoo, and that's why he's so hateful towards goblins. He wants to get rid of them all. So, and it makes sense, because realistically, if you see a loved one go through all that, you will want to be out for blood as well. Even if you're like the nicest person in the world, something like that will make you snap. And people who are nice usually snap a lot faster than people who are hot-blooded. So just keep that in mind. This is technically realistic in a mental standpoint for Goblin Slayer. But yeah, that was basically the episode. And I have to admit, I forgot to mention this in my last episode, but the art and animation is really, really great. The song is okay. It's not too catchy. It's not something to really praise, but it's not bad either. The visuals are very good for the opening and the ending, and the music is okay, and the graphics and art and animation are perfect. There's a couple of CGI moments, but the CGI is not corny or cringy moments, so it's pretty good. So we also get this special clip after the end credits where there's this musician singing about the Goblin Slayer and how he slays goblins and how he fell in love with, like, how a princess fell in love with him for defeating the Goblin King and setting her and her family free. And she wanted to take his hand in marriage, but he rejected her because he's a wanderer and all he does is kill goblins. So he's singing this song and he's being praised by the city, and they're giving him money because he's a musician, a street musician. And when the show was over and he's in the corner counting his money by himself, this hooded girl that we only see her back asks him, is this story true? And he tells her, yeah, this story is true. The Goblin Slayer does exist. He's in 3 days walk away from here, from the city, in another city. And she said, thank you. And she takes off her hood, and he looks at her and he starts blushing. And when we see her, she's an elf. She's really cute, and I love the way her design is hooked up. And after that, we find out that she has an old man behind her and like this lizard folk person behind him. I guess those are her companions or whatever. And now she's gonna go out searching for him. And that was the ending credits. So that was technically the last scene of the episode. Again, episode was good. Art and animation, flawless. If I had to make any complaint about Goblin Slayer so far after the 2 episodes, is the fact that we get nobody's name. We met characters that are from here that are silver dog tag members, just like Goblin Slayers. We didn't get their names. We got this one guy who was cocky with a spear, who was flirting with the blonde haired chick and the attendant. We didn't get his name. We didn't get the blonde haired chick's name again. We didn't get the other blonde haired chick, the attendant who gives out the flyer in the guild. We didn't get her name. The pink haired chick, her uncle. You know, like I said before earlier in my video, that's the one thing about Goblin Slayer I don't like. We're getting all these characters, but we're getting no names. So it's like, it's hard to remember who's who. You know, you have to give them like nicknames or mention them from their hair colors or jobs, you know. And especially for reviewers. I know anyone who's an anime reviewer like myself, I know it's going to be hard for you to like talk about certain characters because you have to mention how they look or their job descriptions so y'all the viewers can understand who we're talking about. Because Goblin Slayer is the only one we can actually say that name and you gotta know who we're talking about. But when it comes to the blonde hair chick, there's 2 of them. There's the priestess who goes out on adventures with Goblin Slayer, and then there's the other blonde hair chick who's the attendant of the guild hall, who gives up the missions and gives you your pay and stuff. So it's like, that's the one thing that I'm kind of iffy, is like, there's no names. But so far the story's been pretty good. Sad about what happened to Goblin Slayer and the people, but they're keeping up with, you know, folklore of the goblins, and I heard it does get better later on after this, especially when I believe they say it takes like 4 or 5 chapters for Goblin Slayer to get his whole team built up, and that's when the series really starts to kick off. So with that information, I will probably have to say in episode 3 or 4 maybe 5 at the most, is when things should build up and Goblin shares and have his team by then. Because usually every episode is 2 to 3 chapters gathered, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, Goblin Slayer was great. I liked it. The art and animation is clean. Music is good. I mean, again, the only thing to complain about, really, is just, like, they're not giving you, like, any characters' names. Like, we get character development for certain characters, like the chick with the pink hair and her uncle, Goblin Slayer. But we're not getting, like, any information on anybody else, so it's, like, no names, so it's kind of hard. But, again, I'm not going to take away from this episode just because of that. I mean, yeah, it's important to get people's names, but at the same time, it's like, if these characters are not going to be shown much or they're going to die quickly, then what's the point of giving them names and characterization? You know? That was a lot of people's problem in episode 1 last week. They got mad because they cut off the characterization for these characters that we got that died. But if they were going to die anyway, then what's the point of having characterization? This is going to be there just for death and for plot convenience of showing how gruesome the war is. But like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your family and friends. Tell me in the comments below, those who are light novel and manga readers without too much spoilers, tell me when things are going to get better, and tell me some of the characters' names too, because, like, I would like to know some of these characters' names, since I don't read the manga or the light novel. I need to know. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.